Very behind on reading. I didn't do nearly as much reading as I wanted to last week, mainly because I started Fellow Travelers. If you haven't seen Fellow Travelers, it is incredible. It is a love story between two men whose characters are played by Jonathan Bailey and Matt Bomer, and it is phenomenal. It is set in the early 1950s, and it goes through the Lavender Scare and a whole really ugly history. But yeah, I don't want to give anything away, and I know that that's not what this video is about, but that's why I did not do much reading, because I started and finished that mini-series. But we are here. We have made it. We are in volume 2. Volume 1 ended very unexpectedly, I would say. So spoiler alert, so if you are planning on reading War and Peace, then maybe like fast forward a little bit. But the end of volume 1, we come back to Prince Andrei, and he is injured pretty severely in battle during the Battle of Austerlitz, and he encounters Napoleon himself. So we see Napoleon for the first time. He has been not a focal point, but he has come up quite heavily so far. He has come up quite a few times in the novel, but we finally get to meet him towards the end of volume 1, and Prince Andrei meets him when he is heavily wounded. And it's really interesting because so far, up until his injury, Prince Andrei sees Napoleon as a heroic figure. He really idealizes him, but then he does this kind of 180 switch where he no longer sees Napoleon in this light, and he actually, his image of Napoleon turns quite sour. So I'll just read you this passage, and this is very close to the end of volume 1. So, even though 5 minutes earlier, Prince Andrei had been able to say a few words to the soldiers who were carrying him, now with his eyes glued on Napoleon, he said nothing. All the things that Napoleon stood for seemed so trivial at that moment. His hero seemed so petty in his squalid vanity and triumphalism, compared with that lofty, righteous, and kindly sky which he had seen and understood, that he couldn't reply. Everything in the world seemed pointless and trivial beside the solemn and serious line of thinking induced in him by weakness from loss of blood, great pain, and a brush with death. Looking Napoleon straight in the eye, Prince Andrei mused on the insignificance of greatness, on the insignificance of human life, the meaning of which no one could understand, and most of all the insignificance of death, which no living person could make sense of or explain. So that's volume 1. I'm really looking forward to volume 2. I think we go back to Petersburg, and I don't really know what's going to happen to Andrei. I think he is a key character, and we're only just over 300 pages in, so I think he will survive, but it looks like we've kind of left him behind. So Napoleon instructs some of the soldiers to take Prince Andrei and a few other worthy Russian soldiers to Napoleon's surgeon to get like patched up. And the surgeon declares, so the surgeon says, he's a bad patient, all nerves and bile, he's not going to recover, in reference to Prince Andrei. So volume 1 ends with Prince Andrei being left behind with some of the local inhabitants at where the Battle of Austerlitz has taken place, I believe. So I don't really know what's going to happen to him. I don't think that this is the end of Prince Andrei, but we shall see. But yeah, I'm excited to get some reading done this week and really get stuck back into the book. I'm making it a priority to read, so the plan is to read a minimum of 20 pages daily. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm gonna sit down and do some reading now, and I will catch you a little bit later. It has been a while and I am relatively behind schedule. Life has been very busy lately and I haven't had enough time to just sit and really get into the book. So it's currently the 30th of January, so just about the end of the month, and I'm 400 pages in, so volume 2 part 2, which isn't terrible, but I do plan to finish this in February, so the end of February. So I do have a lot more reading that I need to do in February because I'm a little bit behind schedule, and a little bit behind, like 200 or 300 pages behind schedule. But my plan is to get lots of reading done this weekend, so I'll hopefully catch up and be right on schedule. So this is where we're at the moment here. It is getting very, very interesting, and I'm finding that when I do have time to sit down and read, I just want to continue reading because I'm enjoying it so much. And lots has happened lately. We're really starting to learn more about Pierre and Prince Andrei primarily. Natasha hasn't really made too much of an appearance. She's been in the periphery in a few chapters, but beyond that she has not been a focal point by any means in the storyline so far. So I'm intrigued to see how she's going to become more of an integral character. I think she's still very, very young, so as we progress in time and she grows up, I think she's going to take more of a front seat in the story. But that's where we are right now. I am going to do some reading for about 20 minutes or so now because I do have some time this morning, which I'm excited about because, like I said, it is getting a lot more interesting and intense. So I'm looking forward to that. And then hopefully this weekend I'll be able to do a good chunk of reading. Okay, things have taken a turn for the worse. I'm feeling a little crampy today. Let me just put you there. So, been feeling a little bit crampy today, not feeling that great, so I decided to take a bath and take my book into the bath as I normally do and have been doing for years without any accidents. And lo and behold, she fell in the bath. Like, I don't really know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try and dry it because it's like soaking, like it's so wet. So I'm gonna try and dry it and I'll report back. Okay guys, this is what we're working with. It has expanded and it is still, as you can see, very, very wet. It also smells a little bit. I just think it's because the like dampness. Luckily, I do have the same edition on my Kindle. It's not ideal because I prefer to read the physical copy, but alas. I thought I would give you a little bit of an update as to the status of the book. So the book has expanded since I dropped it in the bath, and it is still not dry. It's been 2 days and she continues to grow, but she is not dry yet. She is in better condition than she was yesterday, but she is still not great. She is still damp, particularly the first volume. And if I show you what this book is now looking like in comparison to my head, so you can get a sense of how much this book has expanded. Can you see this? Like, she's unhinged. So anyways, I'll update you on where I'm at in the actual work. Like I said, I am reading it on my Kindle. I am on page 509. I have not done very much reading this week. Again, life has just been quite hectic lately, but I do want to do a fair amount of reading tonight and tomorrow evening. So I'll update you on that. But when I have sat down to read, I have read a bunch of chapters in one go. I am really still enjoying it. I think we're getting more into the meat of the characters, and Natasha is becoming more of a focal point in the work. So she is 16 as of now and is starting, so she's made her like debut, I guess, in society. She's gone to her first ball and she is starting to attract the attention of, I don't want to say they're suitors, but like, you know, young men in St. Petersburg. And specifically where I'm at right now, she has kind of captured the attention of Prince Andrei. Okay, if you want to read the book, like stop watching now and like fast forward 2 or 3 minutes, but here we go. Prince Andrei's wife dies in childbirth, and that was like a big shock for me because it happens so quickly and there isn't really a lot of mourning for the little princess, as they call her, and she is depicted as quite an annoying, like feeble character, and she dies in childbirth, leaving Prince Andrei with a son who they name Nikolai. That is so much better. I'm so sorry about the quality before. I was on the wrong setting. So anyways, he's very intrigued with Natasha and how she kind of views the world, and he can't really understand how it is that she is so happy, and it really, really frustrates him. And there's, I think, 2 different chapters that kind of follow one another, where Prince Andrei sees this tree, this oak tree, and the oak tree, I'm gonna try find the passage so that I can show you. This is the first chapter of the 2nd volume, and it says, "He alone refused to submit to the charms of spring. He would not countenance either springtime or sunshine, springtime, love and happiness. This tree seemed to be saying, aren't you fed up with it all, this stupid, senseless sham? It never changes, the same old trick. There is no springtime, sunshine or happiness. Just look at those dead fir trees sitting there when they've been brought down, always the same, every one of them. And look at me, striking out broken, peeling fingers wherever they care to grow, out of my back, out of my side. That's how they've grown, and that's how I am, and I don't believe in any of your hopes and shams." And then a few lines after, it says, "Other people, young people, they can keep that sham going, but he and I know what life is. Our lives are over and done with." The tree had stirred up a host of new ideas in the prince's soul, which held no hope, though their bitterness was sweet. On the journey there, he seemed to have reconsidered his entire life and come right back to his first conclusion, which was as reassuring as it was devoid of hope, that he needn't bother with anything new. All he had to do was live out his life without doing any harm, free from worry and any kind of desire. And this kind of imagery of the oak tree, it kind of demonstrates the stagnation of Andrei's own life. So at this point, he's kind of just given up. He doesn't really have any hope, and he just kind of wants to crack on with his like mundane life, until in the next chapter, he meets Natasha. He's met Natasha before, but he comes into contact with the Rostovs for various reasons. So after his encounter with Natasha, he sees there's a scene where Natasha's bedroom is directly above Andrei's bedroom, and Andrei goes out into the balcony and Natasha is out on her balcony, and she is enamored by what she sees, like the moonlight, and it's so beautiful, she's so happy, and Prince Andrei cannot comprehend those emotions and like what it is that she is so happy about. So once he leaves the Rostovs, he goes back to this oak tree, and the contrast between this description of the oak tree versus what I've just read is really interesting. So here it says, that oak tree, this is chapter 3, that oak tree, it was somewhere near here in the forest, that there was such an affinity between us, he thought. But where was it? As he wandered, he glanced around left and unconsciously, without recognizing it, began to admire the very tree that he was looking at. The old oak was completely transformed, now spreading out a canopy of lush dark foliage and stirring gently as it wallowed in the evening sunshine. No trace now of the gnarled fingers, the scars, the old sadness and misgivings. Succulent young leaves with no twigs had burst straight through the hard bark of 100 years. It was almost incredible that this old fellow should have grown them. And then a few lines later, he says, my life must be lived for me, but also for other people. They mustn't live life like that girl, separated from me. My life must be reflected in them, and they must live along with me, all of us together. So again, it's like seeing Natasha and seeing how she viewed the world, you know, how she viewed something so simple as just like the moon in, you know, a pretty landscape, kind of sparked this shift in Andrei and ignited something in him that allowed him to kind of keep going and see hope and see that he shouldn't live life just for himself, but for those people around him. This is a long-winded way of saying I'm really enjoying the book. I think Tolstoy is a fantastic writer. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I am. And I just think like these characters are so interesting, and they go through various quite deep inner conflicts of like, you know, how they see the world, how they see, you know, what their purpose is in this world. Is there a purpose? Are we just, you know, are we just meant to live out these kind of like mundane lives? And I think it just shows like how interested Tolstoy is with these deeper questions of, you know, where do we derive meaning, how do we derive meaning, etc. So I'm really enjoying that. I feel like if you enjoy good literature and philosophy, like this is a really, really great book, and I don't think that the length should be something that is off-putting, because you can break it down into smaller chunks, and the way that I would do that is, again, I'm going to show you an overwhelming book because mine has expanded, but like let's say this is a normal book that has not expanded in water, but you can break it up into volumes, so maybe just see each volume as a separate book, and that would kind of make it less overwhelming. But yeah, anyways, I think I'm gonna wrap up this vlog. I feel like it's been a really drawn out one, but if you have stayed till the end, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment and let me know your thoughts or anything, any questions that you have about the book. I am still not even halfway through. I'm chipping away at it piece by piece. So if you do have any questions or want me to answer anything in the next episode, please let me know. And yeah, if you stayed to the end, thank you so much. Sending you lots of love. But yeah, I will see you again in the next one.